So, before we solder the wires from the gear towers to the top motor clip, we're going to do a basic test to see if everything is operating as it should. We have the negative connection connected to the light bracket mount because that's where it gets that's where the locomotive gets its negative, and we have the positive connected to the top motor clip. So it's a rudimentary test, but it's a test that's pretty much worked for me for Athearn locomotives. So let's drive forward. And now reverse. And this is running at 40% throttle. Forward again at 40%. And backwards at 60. All right, we're cooking with gas. Let's solder some wires. So we have soldered a 24 gauge wire to the rear gear tower, to the top motor clip, and a 24 gauge wire from this gear tower to the motor clip. I use 24 gauge wire that I can't seem to recall where I got it. I think it was eBay. But this is the brand that I bought. It comes in different colors, comes in different prices, and the shipping method was a little unorthodox because it was sort of tracking that I haven't ever encountered before, and it did arrive on my doorstep, and it's pretty good. It's pretty good stuff. So let's test forward. Would help to turn the power pack on. And reverse. Forward again. And reverse again. Not too shabby. So, let's take this to the layout for a little run around the tracks, and we'll be right back. So, I am letting this thing run at 80% throttle. And it's only because the gold motor has been sitting around for some time until I decided to use it as a replacement motor. So I'm going to let it run at this setting for a few minutes, so that the motor can pretty much shake its sillies out. And then once I feel satisfied enough, I'll lower the throttle to see how this thing performs. We'll come back in a couple of minutes at a lower throttle setting. Right, so here we are on 50% power, 50% throttle, that is. Now that the motor has had its proper shakedown, we'll run this at a lower throttle setting for a few more minutes. And then we can consider enlightenment. We're going to install a light for the locomotive. This is an LED light bracket. I bought this from a fellow up in Ontario, Canada. He sells them in pairs, and he marketed them on eBay as light replacement lights for Athearn F7A locomotives. I ordered 2 pairs, and when I received them, they were wrapped in plastic and had GP50 written on it. I don't own a GP50. I own a GP60, but that Jeep is fine. But I used it for an F7A that needed a light, and it comes... The negative connection is pre-wired, pre-soldered to the bracket itself. All you have to do is solder this wire to the top motor clip. And that's what we're going to do. So I'm just going to get some solder on here, and since this wire is already pre-soldered, I just got to solder it on. Be right back. So I'm impressed. So, we've got the couplers back on, but with one slight change. Although we have the horn hook, the original horn hook, on the cab end of the locomotive, I've gone ahead and installed a number 5 KD coupler on the long hood end, and as we can see, it is nice and level with the KD coupler height gauge. Now, there was also, I also had I guess an epiphany. I put on an LED bulb on the long hood end so that if ever I put this thing in reverse, like I'm about to right now, it lights up very nicely. So we have a light in the forward direction, and we have enlightenment in the reverse direction. All we had to do was, instead of positive on the right and positive on the motor clip and negative on the light bracket, we switch it around. Positive is on the negative on the light bracket for negative, and the black wire is on the motor clip for the positive. It seems somewhat confusing, but it works. So, with the magic of television, we're going to put the hood back on. Like so. Isn't television wonderful? So, let's take a look at it going forward. And reverse. Beautiful. Let's lash her up to some cars and see how she performs. Well, I am pleasantly surprised. This girl is running and pulling like a champ. And considering the load, she is at between 70 and 75% throttle. The amperage is halfway decent. She is pulling quite the load. Well, I'm going to chalk this up as another success. With that being said, please remember to like, share, subscribe. Thank you, everyone who has subscribed for their support. And thank you so much for stopping by. Until next time.